2. Ascension. Chapter 9, In Good Hands, Journal Entry. Time and date, unknown. Location, unknown. Blackness and bleakness had become the slogan of my life. My eyes were cemented shut, but my mind's engine was churning at full throttle. Behind my eyes were flashes of Kate, Leopold, my family, and all the things I now realize I took for granted. At first, these visions were peaceful. I saw memories of my childhood portrayed like an old 8mm film displayed against the back of my eyelids. The nostalgia comforted me like watching an old movie with a loved one. But there were no loved ones here. Slowly, glimmers of my past turned into a portrait of a future steeped in enmity. These visions became more serious, more sinister. Wars ongoing and horrendous, deaths too numerous to count, bombs evaporating entire cities. A cannibalistic future where man consumed man. Hate and fear ruled this new world, and though man sought death, death would not come. I was being force-fed this imagery through a funnel of malice. My brain actually began to feel pain as if its cache was full. I hoped it would stop, but the images just kept coming, pushing through the already suffocated space in my mind. Famines and fires, floods, earthquakes, suicides, murders, and all manner of death and destruction being telepathically transferred to me. There was no relief from the throng of evil footage running rampant through my mind. Just when I thought I couldn't handle one more second, one more gruesome vision, I awoke. I was upgraded to full consciousness and downgraded to an unfortunate reality. The sound and smell of searing flesh was no doubt responsible for stoking the flames of my awareness. It was the type of aroma that was typically accompanied with a watering mouth and a great deal of anticipation. Only something was wrong with this pungent fragrance. It was heavier. It didn't elicit the same response from my appetite that normally would follow with a fine cut of beef cooking on a grill. Instead, something foul yet familiar was in attendance. I had never smelled this particular odor before. I began to feel a burning pain on my abdomen, but could not open my eyes to see what it was. I was paralyzed. The pain manifested at the same rate as the strange aroma, and they were both intensifying. An electrical high-pitched sound permeated the ambiance at the same time as a burning sensation was erupting throughout my body. A sound like the crack of a bulwark slashed, and I felt my eyes break open. My vision was blurred, but I could discern that I was in a dark room surrounded by creatures of varying sizes in different locations. I was certain I was the focus of their attention. A surge of fear like I've never experienced before or after coursed through me. Like ripples in a lake, this fear was experienced in waves, with my terror traveling up and down peaks and valleys. As my eyes began to clear, I began taking in my surroundings and immediately wished for blindness. Large black almond-shaped eyes framed by a massive orbital head came into view. The alien creatures stood all around me, staring at me, or maybe through me was a better way to describe it. I tried to scream, but some type of large metallic device was jammed down my throat. I gagged and choked and tasted something like formaldehyde and copper, or blood perhaps. I tried to move, but they had rendered me paralyzed from the neck down. If I wasn't already physically paralyzed, I would have instead been frozen from the intense fear. I looked down because I was too afraid to look into their pooling eyes. I wish I had not looked down. I now saw where the horrible smell was coming from. It was me. I was the thing burning. A thin blue beam of light slowly swept across my abdomen, effortlessly splitting my midsection open in a surgically straight line. The arc from the device painted an ominous cobalt blue color on the creatures' faces. It reminded me of the light a welder with an acetylene torch casts. Blue bitter cold light danced across their massive, reflective black eyes. They were the eyes of torturous expectancy. One of the creatures pulled at both sides where the laser had cut and looked inside of me. I tried desperately to move, to scream, but my body lay still. Every bit of my mental bandwidth was dedicated to the thought of escape, but I could do nothing. I lay there watching in terror. I was witnessing some sort of medical procedure. Although using the word medical implied I was being helped, and I definitely was not being helped, I was being mutilated. I desperately wished I could faint. Even death would have been a relief from this great nightmare. Every time I began to show signs of losing consciousness, one of the alien participants would spray a pink mist over my face that jolted me back to awareness. Looking down, I gleaned what I thought were my lungs because they collapsed and inflated in tune with my erratic breathing. Not having the ability to scream elevated the fear to another level. They wanted me to see everything they were doing to me, and that frightened me even more. If this was just the start of what they wanted me to witness, what was next? Anticipation was perhaps the greatest form of torture at their disposal.